I didn't expect a carry case with the price, but one is included in the box, which is a nice bonus. Unfortunately, the case uses a terribly stiff spring steel closing mechanism. I only bother using this for storing the 3 remaining ear tips. The wire is pliable but a little stiff with an inline microphone, terminated with the usual 3.5mm connector. The cable can disconnect from the earbuds themselves, connected via a 2-pin connection. I despise this connector because I can't turn it to adjust the position of the ear hooks. That's why I prefer MMCX. Through the transparent earbuds, you can see a nice view of the internal dynamic driver of the Truthear Gate. It's a nice design touch as the wires are neatly tucked to one side. They don't seem to pick up fingerprints, but they seem to be susceptible to micro sketches. They fit in my ears just fine, and they are light without any notable points of pressure. Wearing these for a long time, at over 6 hours, didn't pose any issues either. Being wired IEMs, these don't cancel any noise. They do block out some sound though. Our lab test shows that the passive isolation can block up to 9 decibels of low frequency noise and up to 35 decibels of high frequency noise, which is about normal for IEMs. The microphone on the Truthear Gate would sound great, but there is a constant screeching sound in the background. If you want audio samples for the inline microphone, including tests in simulated environments like wind, the office, and street noise, with an MDAX score of 4.9 for timbre, most people will enjoy how they sound out of the box. The distortion score of 4.2 is within the range of what most people find difficult to notice. Still, it is on the better scoring end of IEMs. The immersiveness score of 3.6 is within the typical range for most IEMs. The higher the score, the more likely the better it is in competitive shooters, but more on that in the gaming section. For the lab tests, the Truthear Gate isn't a complete departure from the sound guy's preference curve. The bass is slightly boosted at the 20Hz sub-bass region compared to our preference, but the bass is lower than our preference overall. The same goes with the mids, with a dip from 200Hz to 500, other than following the curve closely up to 3 kHz. The treble is much lower than the preference, with a huge dip at 10 kHz. In gaming, you can game with the Truthear Gate, depending on the type of game you're playing. In dialogue-heavy story games like Cyberpunk 2077, the dialogue doesn't get lost in the mix, even with background music and other environmental noise. For cozy games like The Legend of Zelda: Echoes of Wisdom, high-pitched sounds like the crystalline chimes of summoning aren't painful. Action games, on the other hand, like Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, where you punch and shoot bad guys after sneaking around a bunch, are a little underwhelming. Firing a weapon doesn't come with the loud and powerful crack of a gunshot, and the exaggerated sound of punches from the game audio falls flat. In competitive shooters like Apex Legends, it's difficult to pick out the specific location of the sound, and the ability to locate sounds from left to right on the Truthear Gate is the bare minimum. It was very difficult for me to pick up the L-Star firing right behind me, or notice the direction of sounds other than somewhere to my right or left. They also have the shallow sense of depth, where most sounds are either near or close by, and seemingly nothing in between. On MOBAs such as League of Legends, it's hard to pick out distinct sounds like the teleport twinkles, but passable only because you can easily hear comms even mid-clash. The Truthear Gate doesn't sound bad for the price. It comes with some compromises. It is lacking in treble, they sound a touch boxy, pretty compressed, and lack some detail.